Hi everybody, this is Eric from longboxreview.wordpress.com. I'm here today to do another pull list review this week for comics that came out August 14th, 2013. So first up is A1. This is number 3. There are 3 stories in this that they keep continuing on with. This is a 6-issue miniseries. I've talked about it before, but going forward with this, like I said, there are 3 stories, and the best of the 3 is the first one, which is The Weirding Willows. And this time Frankenstein's monster shows up, and he's trying to find his friend Rosalind, who turns out to be a dinosaur. So I'm not quite sure how all that fits in, but Weirding Willows is a nice blend of all these literature and fantasy characters that we've seen in other works, and I enjoy it very much. I did talk at one point, I think, about one of the characters in here. She's dressed in green, and she appeared like either an old man or an old woman in one panel, and it really freaked out one of the characters. But I could not place her. Her name is Miss Marsh. In this issue, however, it turns out that she appears to be, at least to me, and maybe I'm just slow, but it appears to me that she is the Wicked Witch from Oz. Wicked Witch of the West, because she's trying to find flying monkeys. That's the one that Wicked Witch of the West, right? That's the one that's in the movie. There goes my credibility. The other story, Carpe Diem, is just a joke. It appears to be a 6-issue joke, and I don't find it that funny. Sorry. The other part of this is Odyssey, which is, I've talked before how it is a more or less a Captain America clone type character. But it's interesting in this one because this character, the general, is ordered to go get Saddam Hussein out of Baghdad, I believe. And turns out that this version of Saddam Hussein is a life force stealing character. So if anybody touches him, he can steal your life force and rejuvenate. I don't know. Next up, Archer and Armstrong. This is number 12. So I'm going to show you this. Look right there. See where it says that? Pick up this book. I can't read it backwards on the video monitor. Pick up this book and you will not be disappointed from Comic Vine. And I have to wholeheartedly agree with that. I believe this is the only remaining Valiant title that I'm currently reading. No, wait, Exo Man of War. So there's 2 of them. This is such good comics. I love this work. This is by Fred Van Lente, drawn by Pere Perez, who is, I love his work. He's done some other stuff before for DC. Great stuff. What's interesting in here is that a couple things. One, Armstrong is fighting against these aliens who are under the command of this general, and so they're in this alternate universe or pocket universe. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, but hold on one second. So well, you get I'll show you this. You get this Patton-like scene with this general with the American flag behind him as he's talking to his alien troops. But there's what they peppered through here, and okay. So I said that the Carpe Diem stuff in A1 is just one big joke. Well, there's lots of jokes in this. There's a lot of funny bits in this, but they're actually funny. Oh man, sorry. Hold on one second. I can't believe I can't find it. Anyway, well, okay. So I'll just show you this one little part here. Notice the black bar. So the general's words are often redacted from and it's usually curse words. But you know, the whole military and everything redacted. It's the little things like this that I love. The other bit that I wanted to mention is that Mary Maria, who is the adopted sister of Archer is fighting along with Armstrong against this alien incursion of these Native Americans in this pocket universe. That's my interpretation of that. She really wants nothing to do with it, but she decides to help out. And then there's the scene at the end where Armstrong just throws this tree at the flying saucer up there, and then at the bottom. Oh, and okay. So for the payoff here, Archer, the main guy here, this guy right here, he's in love with Mary Maria, even though they're adopted siblings. So you need to know that first. And then, so here's the scene where she notices or watches Armstrong do this, and see that surprise or that wide-eyed look on her face, and she goes, "Power, pure power, simply." And then you get this dun-da-da-da picture of Armstrong here, and she goes, "Magnificent." So, whoops. I see some conflict coming to between Archer and Armstrong in the very near future. All right, Astro City. Go. This is number 3. I thought last issue they were done with that story with the Morella, who is the call center employee for the Guard. The Guard, is that right? You think I actually read these things, right? I've forgotten the group's name in this series. I've been reading this since the 90s, and I can't remember them. Anyway, that story continues. She actually takes a leave of absence from work and goes and helps the people that are devastated by the events from last issue. Great story still. I don't know, for some reason I thought the way that the story ended last issue, then that was the end of that story, but apparently not. We get more of it here, so very good. Excuse me. Batman, 0 Year, number 23. Basically, the Red Hood beats the crap out of Bruce Wayne and almost kills him. Alfred patches him up, and he goes into, I think it's the library of Wayne Manor or something, and is looking for some sort of inspiration. And during the course of this whole issue, he's remembering the time that he fell down into the caves under Wayne Manor. So then he gets that inspiration, of, "Yes, Father, I shall become a bat." Which I meant to look this up. I wanted to go look at Year 1 from Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli, just to see how this fits in with that time frame. I think it does. On the surface, I'm pretty sure it does, but I'm just curious how that all works. And then, but there's one thing I wanted to just mention here. As I said, the Red Hood and his gang are beating the crap out of Bruce. Where is a good shot here? Okay, so yeah, you see the hammer hits Bruce in the arm there, and there's, well, look at all that blood. Where is it? Yeah, look at that middle panel up top there with the mace. Look how big those spikes are on that mace. So then we go to, yeah, here we go, the next page. And then look again. Look at all that blood on that mace in the upper corner there. There's no way that Bruce Wayne could survive this. I don't care how his recuperative powers are, or whatever techniques he's learned. You get hit in the body repeatedly where the blood is just dripping off that mace. There's no way this guy is going to survive. No way. But, it's comics. Batman Little Gotham. This is number 5. It's another nice little tale, and pun intended there. Not much to talk about. Battlestar Galactica number 3 with I think that's, isn't that kind of that's a Star Wars homage, isn't it? That cover. More alternate timeline stuff going on here where Starbuck meets Starbuck. It's kind of funny how the alternate timeline Starbuck doesn't really recognize himself. You find out that, well, Adama, the alternate timeline Adama, tells our Apollo that there is no more Battlestars, but at the very end, there is one. So, I don't know. I'm not getting this for, or I'm only getting a couple more issues of this, so. So, okay, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Look at that lovely Phil Noto cover. If nothing else, this series has been great for the Noto covers. This is number 24, which is the penultimate issue for this season. This is basically Willow's trying to reignite magic that's been going on for quite a while in this series, while Buffy is fighting an ex-Slayer who turns into a vampire because she has a big hate-on for Buffy. And that's, it ends on a nice little cliffhanger with the vampire, that the aforementioned vampire has Buffy with Buffy's Slayer axe. Got her pinned up there like that, defeated. So we'll see how this series and the next issue ends. Constantine number 6, picking up where the events from the previous issue with the guest star of Shazam. Constantine is in a ghost-like state because he's dying. He runs or comes into contact with his pal that he killed, or helped kill, or set into motion to be killed. What's his name? Chris. Well, no, Chris's spirit wants revenge. So that's what this story is about. And I am done with Constantine. Speaking of done, here is Demon Knights number 23, the final issue. This is one of the New 52 comics when it was first launched that I really, really enjoyed. And I'm sorry to see it go. We lost the, I can't remember who was the artist on the initial run, but that artist was really good. The artist on this is Phil Winslade. Things, that looks a little, messy, maybe even a little rushed. I don't know, but definitely not the style that I really enjoyed for this title when it first came out. A bunch of giants are after the Holy Grail, and they defend the city where it's located, and pretty much everyone that we have come to know as the Demon Knights are still around, and in the end they all end up okay. But they kind of leave it open to where if they wanted to do further adventures, they could. So I am happy with that. East of West, number 5. In fact, just a few minutes before this recording, I just read this issue. Death finds his wife that he's been after this whole time through issues 1 through 4. I'm sure butcher her name, but I think it's pronounced Shaolin. Anyway, they talk about, you get a little bit of backstory on their love story and the fact that they had a child before, and she thinks that the child was killed by war. So you have death, war, pestilence. What are the other the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? I'm missing one. Let's see. Well, it turns out, hey, he's not dead, and Death goes to find him. And that's pretty much it. And the one thing I wanted to mention, here's the scene, speaking of the Death's kid. Here we go. Here's a scene here where you can see him right there. He's plugged into this device, and then there's this little computer-like blob thing, and it's asking him all these things. What fundamental mathematical principle does this represent? Please list the following items in order of societal preference and reason for doing so, blah, blah, blah. Please recite your favorite piece of prose. And then, and the kid, of course, is answering. And then it says, how do you feel? And the kid goes, I don't know what that means. This is a scene taken straight out of Star Trek 4, where Spock, after Spock's Katra has been put back into his body, the computer is quizzing him to make sure that his memories and mental faculties are okay, and that's the last thing that the computer asks him too, is how do you feel? Because he's half human. The computer knows this. Anyway, so ripped right out of there. I'm okay with that. I think of it as an homage, so I'm okay with that. Oh, one more thing I want to mention about this. I'll talk about SAGA in a minute, but everybody raves, and as I record this, I found out the previous night at the during the Baltimore Comic-Con that SAGA and Fiona Staples won multiple Harvey Awards. Which is great, very, very great. So, but I wanted to mention a lot of times when people talk about SAGA, they talk about the world that Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples has created in SAGA, and how rich it is and how imaginative and whatnot. Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta, who does the art on this, very comparable in this world building and the imagery that we get in here. Not that they're the same; they're different genres, but they, in terms of the creativity, I think Nick Dragotta deserves a whole lot of, and Jonathan Hickman too. But they deserve a lot of credit that I don't think they're getting for the work on this book. So there you go. Speaking of, I'm thinking of something that I recorded with Travis, Oddfellow's Thoughts. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about this. Infinity, the event, the next Marvel event. Infinity #1, part 1 of 6. Let's see. In the Marvel Universe, there are these, as we've just found out recently in Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run, there are these multi-millennia old beings called the Builders, and they're the ones that have manipulated and coddled civilizations across time and space. Well, for some reason, they're on their way to Earth, and of course that spells doomsday. Thanos is involved in this in some ways. He's trying to find out the secret that eventually during this issue you find out that it is contained within the memories and in the head of Black Bolt. And he sends this creature to find this stuff. Well, Black Bolt, he's sleeping, and the guy's extracting these memories and these thoughts. And here's this great little scene. Yeah, so you get this little scene here. This is the guys at the top there. This is the information that Thanos is looking for, or the start of it. But then Black Bolt shows up and says, "Get out of my head," or "Get out of my mind." I thought that was really cool. Anyway, he goes after this creature, and Black Bolt. If he says stuff, that's usually bad. Well, here's the scene where he just barely says, "What is it? Stop." And look at the effect of that. Look at the devastation there that this panel is implying. I love Black Bolt. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, this is $5. Look how, I don't know if you can tell. Look how many pages that is. I should have counted them. It's really thick. It's a really thick book. I swear to God, this is like, I don't know. It must be 40 pages. So there's just a lot of stuff in it. Looking forward to it. It's Jonathan Hickman. You know how much I love him. Okay, before when I said, speaking of events, here is Justice League of America #7. This is part 4 of 6 of Trinity War. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Actually, I'm not going to talk about it at all. I'm just going to mention that as of this recording of this video, yesterday, Travis, Mr. Oddfellow's Thoughts, and I recorded the next podcast episode of the Long Box Review podcast, in which we talk about the entire Trinity War, from the prelude to the tie-ins, parts 1 through 6. Running through all the Justice League books. So I encourage you to go listen to that. You can find out what we thought about Justice League #7, along with everything else. Nightwing #23. Okay, see this cover here? See, Nightwing's all strung up there in a very Jesus-like pose, and actually, you see the prankster there, and he's on like a jumbotron here. You can kind of see in the corner down here, there's this crowd, like at some sort of sports event, and you can see, I'm going to point right there with my finger. I don't know if you can see that. 3:16, John 3:16. Jesus imagery. The problem with this is, I don't care about that, with the imagery. What I care about is that there's nothing in the story that has anything to do with this cover. Hate that. What is in here is Dick Grayson's. He's always been kind of, I don't know, how do I want to say this? Boisterous. He's always been kind of jovial. He's always been kind of daredevilish in his exploits. But for him to almost comes across as callous to me. This woman is slipping. She's going to fall to her death, and he's cracking jokes about it. He saves her, of course, and then she appreciatively kisses him. And he thinks that's pretty cool. It's just, I don't know. I'm not sure of Kyle Higgins, the way that Kyle Higgins is representing Dick Grayson in this storyline. But in the end, so one of the things that's been running through this current storyline is that Zuko, Boss Zuko, is how we used to know him. He's the guy who killed Grayson's parents. Well, he's still alive in this New 52 universe, and he's been, I guess he's turned over a new leaf. He has a wife, he has a kid. He's in Chicago, that's where Nightwing is. Anyway, at the very end, and of course Nightwing's been looking for him, at the very end he goes to Zuko goes to Nightwing and says, we need to work together to save the city. So, that's interesting. I have to admit, I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about. I was actually thinking about dropping Nightwing pretty soon, but based on these events and what I've been seeing for advanced solicitations, I'm probably going to stick around for a little bit. What I'm not sticking around with is Red Sonja. This is number 2. I did not like number 1 if you watched my previous video, and that has not changed. My opinion has not changed. Basically the fight that Sonja was preparing for after we found out the invading army is being led by her previous prison mate, what's her name, Anicia, I believe? Yeah. Well, the battle doesn't go well for Red Sonja, and she ends up having to surrender. And this weird thing that she has the plague, I don't know, once she's told that, she just kind of, Red Sonja, just stops trying. She stops fighting. Now, part of that is, her forces are overrun, and she needs to stop to save them, what's left of them anyway. But it was just a weird detail. Anyway, she gets, and she has the plague, but Anicia kisses her. But then again, maybe they don't know what the plague really is. What you find out about Anicia, why she's doing this, and she's crazy. She thinks that all the people that her and Red Sonja killed in that arena situation, that gladiator type thing that they were in the past, the ghosts are haunting her and crying out for her to kill more people so that they could be less alone. So anyway, she's really Anicia's really mad at Red Sonja because Red Sonja is ignoring the cries of those that they've killed. Anyway, she gets Red Sonja gets banned, and part of the deal for her surrender and for the other people not being killed by Anicia and her troops is that Red Sonja is exiled. And in the last scene, you see her going off into the snowy mountains with her horse, and that's it. Yeah. Not gonna... I'll get number 3, because I pre-ordered it, but that's it. Sorry. Okay, I've talked about Saga before. Saga returns. This is number 13. So last time, Marco's father sacrificed himself in order to save the group. Well, he's not having a good time with that. And his mother is concerned. His wife, of course, is concerned. They're trying to find this author who wrote the book that basically brought them together. They think that this author will have some answers for them, which is really, I don't know, it's kind of a lame story point, I think. These guys are incredibly naive, or I don't know. Maybe there is something there. I don't know. Just, you know, if I went to try and find Neil Gaiman, perhaps, no, that's not even comparable. If Raymond Carver were alive, that might be something. No, that's not even comparable, because I would need a story or a book that brought my wife and I together, and that didn't happen. No, that would be Beverly Hills Cop 2. Anyway, it's a weird plot point, but and then the Will has a vision. I guess he's getting high, and he has a vision of his former dead girlfriend. No, not former, or his dead former girlfriend. Anyway, on the way to, we'll jump back to Marco and everybody else. They end up on this planet, and there's, you know, I talked about, you know, the interesting ideas, the story, or the world building they're doing. So here's this planet, and they're on the. So you see, they're walking on this. It looks like just this devastating grave site where bones are everywhere, but the bones are whispering. And so Marco's mother puts one up to her ear, and it chomps down on her. And, you know, she says, "This haunting skull is eating my brain," and the half spirit girl here. I can't remember these people, everybody's names. She's like, they're not. It's not haunted. It's bone bugs. Bugs that inhabit the bones and skulls of these people that are here, and are able to, you know, make noises and animate them. It's just a cool idea. I love Saga. Star Trek, number 24. So you see here on the cover, Jim Kirk, and then the Gorn. This is the new Gorn. This is the Gorn look in this new Star Trek universe. This is a sequel to the storyline in the Star Trek video game that came out about the same time that the last movie came out. I think, I'm pretty sure about that. In which, okay, so anyway, the Kirk and company had an encounter with the Gorn in the video game, and now they encounter the Gorn again in the story, where these miners are on this planet, and they're getting killed by the Gorn. Well, it turns out that the Gorn wanted to colonize, this small group of Gorn wanted to colonize there, and the mining group, were trying to kill them. They were picking them off. They were trying to annihilate this group. Well, then the remaining Gorn didn't take that very well, so they struck back. Anyway, it was a nice little morality tale, very fitting of Star Trek, if not repetitive. But what's neat is that one of the miners here is talking to Jim Kirk after basically Kirk quarantines the planet, allowing the Gorn to stay. Anyway, the guy says, pathetic, "What's the point of having all the power of this ship if you're afraid to use it?" And Kirk responds, "You're asking the wrong question. What's the point of having all this power if I don't know how to use it?" So, I just like that line. And very mature for Kirk, I think. Even older Kirk that we've seen in the movies. Okay, next up, Thor, God of Thunder. This is number 11, with the conclusion to the God Bomb storyline, which has been awesome. I was going to say a bad word and then, you know, put that before awesome. It's awesome. What's really cool here, so Thor takes his hammer and future Thor's hammer and goes into the God Bomb to try and stop it. And what he's doing is he's absorbing the power of the God Bomb into himself. Through the hammers, I guess. Well, what's really cool, so this is Jason Aaron doing this writing, and just kind of this old style third-person narration that's going on here. You know, someone's telling a story, which is very appropriate for stories about gods, because that's what gods are. They're stories. That's really all they are. They're stories. And for one moment that stretched across time, every god in all the universe closed their eyes and prayed to Thor to give him that power, that will to do that, including his father in the past. Or no, I guess it's not the past, but his father. Odin is praying to Thor, his son. That is just a cool concept. And of course, Thor defeats Gore, the butcher, the bad guy of the story. But then dies. Spoiler alert! Thor dies again. But they make note of that. See, for the 9th time that could be remembered, thus Thor died. And then 3 days later, he's up, he's back. And then everybody is going, but the older Thor sends younger Thor and even younger Thor back to their own timelines, while the remaining gods that were on the God Bomb world end up inhabiting what is left of oh my god, I can't remember. What is the name of... Oh man. I have Asgard. Oh my god. When I'm talking like this, sometimes the words just go out of my brain. Alright, anyway, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then that is it. So then we go on, next we go on to the Malekith storyline. I'm not familiar with the character, but I think it has something to do with the Thor, the Dark World movie that's coming out later this year. 2 more. Uncanny X-Men. Look at that great Fraser Irving cover. I love Fraser Irving's work. This is number 10. The guy just does so much with color. He creates with color. I mean, he's got lines. You can actually see. He's got line work in there. He draws, but everything is done with color and shades of color, and shading is the color, and you get so many different spectrums. So you get, in this winter scene, everything's kind of white and light blue, and then we go into this, it's Portland, and I'm not sure what time of year this is, but then you get everything in these pinks and slight purples, and you get big splashes of color. See that? A big splash of color over here. But you also get the detail of the trees and leaves in the background. I may not be, here's a splash page. This group demonstrating in I think it's Michigan. Yeah, Michigan, and it's all reds and yellows. It uses color to convey emotion, and not that I mean, that's a common technique, but he just does it in a way that I've never really seen before, and it's lovely stuff. I love Fraser Irving's work. Now, I don't necessarily think that he is a good fit for this particular title. Not quite sure what I mean by that. It just seems like an odd choice to have Fraser Irving come on and do an X-Men book. When he did Zombie for DC, that made perfect sense. And if you haven't read Zombie, this is pre-New 52, I really encourage you to go find the issues or buy the trade. I'm pretty sure there's a trade out. Beautiful, fantastic, interesting, crazy stuff in that book. Anyway, the Uncanny X-Men ends with Cyclops and his group going to this pro Cyclops, pro mutant demonstration at the University of Michigan, and then a Sentinel shows up. Oops! So, big Sentinel fight, I'm presuming, next issue. And finally, Huntress, Power Girl, World's Finest, number 15. I don't know why I still read this book. Anyway, they fight against Assad, and in the very end, something's happened to Power Girl, and she's not healing. Her powers are screwed up. That's pretty much it. Okay, That's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. Let me know what you think about these titles, my thoughts on them. You know, am I crazy? Am I right? Maybe a little of both. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.